You didn't land here by accident. You were drawn, not because of curiosity or coincidence, but because something in your field is ready to remember, ready to receive. There are moments in life that feel quiet on the outside but seismic within. This is one of them. You are not watching, you are entering. There's an ancient method about to be revealed, one that was hidden not out of secrecy but out of timing. And now your timing is aligned. This isn't about learning something new. It's about activating what has been dormant. A pulse, a code, a vibration that's already living in you, waiting for the right frequency to wake it. You found that frequency, or maybe it found you. Welcome, you've crossed the threshold. The veil is thinner now. And what comes next isn't just knowledge. It's a remembering. There's a moment quiet and almost invisible when something within you shifts. You're not sure how or why, but suddenly, the world around you feels softer, less dense, like the edge between here and somewhere else just got thinner. That's not imagination, that's vibration. You see, dimensions aren't places, they're frequencies. Invisible territories layered on top of each other, like waves on a lake. You're not meant to travel to another dimension. You're meant to tune into it, like a radio adjusting its dial until a hidden station comes into focus. And here's where it gets real. When your vibration rises, when your field of energy becomes coherent, alive, and present the reality around you responds. Not metaphorically. Literally, people shift. Conversations reroute. Doors open. Paths you didn't see before start glowing with a kind of strange familiarity. One person wrote, "After I started raising my vibration, opportunities just started flowing: money, peace, confidence. I didn't do anything different, but everything changed." That's not coincidence. That's resonance. Most people try to change their lives by rearranging things outside of themselves. But Thoth taught something ancient and profound. Reality is not something you look at. It's something that looks back at you, responding to the frequency you emit. And that frequency, it doesn't rise through effort. It rises through awareness. When you begin to breathe with intention slower, deeper, more consciously, your body becomes a tuning fork. Your breath becomes a kind of soft technology, not mechanical, but mystical. It begins to carry messages. It tells the field, "I'm ready." And slowly, the field responds. That's when you notice it. You're no longer watching reality from a distance. You're inside it, moving it, living it differently. It's as if your whole being has become a doorway. Other dimensions were never hidden. You were just vibrating at a frequency where they didn't yet exist. But now you're here, and everything is listening. Some teachings aren't written in books. They're encoded in breath-quiet, invisible rhythms passed down not through words, but through silence. The golden breath is one of those codes. You may have heard whispers of it. A breathing technique said to open your field, tune your vibration, and unlock perception beyond the five senses. But this isn't just about breathing deeper. It's about breathing differently with reverence, with vision, with intention. Imagine this. You inhale gently, and as you exhale, your lips barely part. The air flows out slowly, like a golden thread unraveling from your mouth. You see it in your mind's eye, a thin, shimmering strand of light spiraling into space. That's the golden thread breath. With each exhale, that thread lengthens. And as you follow it with your awareness, something strange happens. Your mind slows, your body softens. Reality begins to feel like it's breathing with you, not against you. But with you, it's simple, but it's not shallow. And there's more. Hidden within this breath is a deeper pattern, the Fibonacci sequence. It's a rhythm found in nature in the spirals of galaxies, seashells, pine cones. Thoth's teachings suggest it's also found in the body. And when you breathe according to that sequence 13, 8, 5, 3, 2, 1, you start to harmonize with the natural mathematics of the universe. Inhale for 3, hold for 2, exhale for 5, pause for 1, then start again. You don't have to be perfect. You don't even have to count out loud. You just need to feel the rhythm, like a wave that knows exactly how to return to shore. This isn't about forcing your breath. It's about following it, trusting that your body knows something ancient, something sacred. One viewer asked, "What was the breathing sequence using golden light?" This is it. But more than steps or ratios, it's a remembrance, a return to something soft and powerful living inside you. Over time, this breath becomes a bridge between the visible and the invisible, between what you think you are and what you've always been. Each inhale calls you deeper in. Each exhale opens the gate a little wider. And if you stay with it, not as a technique but as a devotion, you'll realize this breath isn't just air, it's language. A quiet language of light, threading its way through your cells, your heart, your field. You're not just breathing anymore. You're being breathed by something vast. Some things don't need to be learned. They only need to be awakened. The Eye of Horus is one of those things. It isn't just a mystical symbol etched onto temple walls. It's a map, a biological, spiritual, interdimensional map hidden in plain sight inside your own brain. Its curves echo the shape of the thalamus. Its central spiral aligns with the pineal gland. Its arcs mirror the geometry of your inner vision. It's not coincidence, it's memory. When Thoth passed down this symbol, he wasn't creating something new. He was revealing what was already encoded within us, an anatomical key designed to activate sight beyond the physical. But here's the truth. It only responds when you respond. As you enter the breath, the golden breath, the inside of your body begins to organize itself. Slowly, softly, a pulse emerges from the center of your mind. The pineal gland, long dormant, begins to glimmer, not as an idea, but as light. You don't see this light with your eyes. You feel it like warmth between thoughts, a flicker of knowing, a shape that doesn't have edges. It doesn't arrive all at once. It grows with every breath you take into stillness. Within that stillness, something ancient opens. You begin to notice patterns, spirals, intersections, a living architecture that has always been there but was never lit from within. Now it glows. The Eye of Horus is not a symbol to study. It's a frequency to remember. You're not accessing a new power. You're returning to something you've touched in dreams, glimpsed in silence, felt as a child. You don't force it, you allow it. And when you do, your inner vision unfolds not as fantasy, but as structure, as space, as light. You're not learning to see. You're remembering that you always could. You walk into a room and something feels off, a flicker of light, a word overheard, a shape on the floor. You can't explain it, but something in your body registers meaning before your mind catches up. That's not random. That's symbolic language speaking. You see, reality isn't just made of things. It's made of meanings woven together through form, pattern, and vibration. What you think of as events are often just expressions of a deeper geometry, a living geometry that's constantly unfolding around you. It's not just sacred, it's alive. And when your inner vision activates, you don't just see the world, you read it. Every coincidence becomes choreography, every obstacle a mirror. Every sound, every color, every silence is saying something. Thoth called this the grammar of light. He taught that when your vibration reaches coherence, Symbols stop being abstract. They become radiant. They begin to move inside your field. You start noticing circles, spirals, numbers not as decoration, but as messages. Like the universe is writing directly into the fabric of space around you. Some describe it as living geometry, a sensation where shapes pulse, align, rearrange with a kind of sacred precision. It's as if the world isn't just happening, it's speaking. And the question is, what is happening to me? What is this moment trying to say? That shift right there is when reality stops being something you react to and starts becoming something you relate to. Like an ongoing conversation between your soul and the field. You won't need to decode everything. You'll just feel the meaning. You may see triangles in clouds or hear the same number whispered through your day. These aren't distractions. They're invitations, reminders, echoes of a deeper story in which you are not just the reader, but the author. Symbol isn't something you learn. It's something you remember how to listen to. And when you do, even the ordinary becomes holy. There are moments when time doesn't feel linear. You breathe in, and with that breath, something stretches, not forward, not back, just outward, like a ripple across still water. This is what happens when breath becomes vibration. When you breathe with coherence, with presence, you begin to slip beneath the surface of linear reality. Time stops feeling like a line and starts feeling like a field you can feel. And in that field, there is a mirror. Not the kind you hang on a wall, but a vibrational mirror one that reflects more than your current self. It shows you flashes of the past that still live in your cells. Glimpses of futures reaching back to touch the present. It's not fantasy, it's awareness, multidimensional awareness. Thoth spoke of this field not as a place, but as a frequency one that can only be accessed when your internal rhythm aligns with the language of the cosmos. That alignment begins with the breath. When you practice the golden breath, when each inhale is soft and luminous, and each exhale threads into space like golden light, you begin to spiral. Literally, the field around your heart, the toroidal energy structure, begins to pulse in synchronicity. This spiral is the portal, and you don't need to push through it. You simply remain still and feel yourself move. There's nothing to visualize, nothing to achieve, just stay with the rhythm. And notice how space becomes softer. Notice how thoughts lose their edges. Notice how you begin to perceive not just what's happening, but what's arriving. Multidimensional awareness doesn't mean seeing other worlds. It means sensing the full spectrum of your own being across time, across feeling, across layers you didn't know were there. You're not escaping, you're expanding. The breath leads. The body remembers, and you simply witness the unfolding. Some gates don't open with effort. They open with coherence. Your heart, more than just a pump, is the most powerful electromagnetic center in your body. And the moment its rhythm syncs with your breath, your brain, and your presence, something subtle shifts. Reality begins to organize itself around stillness. Picture the energy field of the heart not as an abstract aura, but as a living shape, an infinite torus, spiraling in and spiraling out like an upside-down lotus blooming into space. This is not imagination. This is measurable, and it holds the key to how you perceive reality. When you are anxious, this field becomes jagged, scattered. But when you find your breath, when you soften into it, when you let your awareness drop gently into the center of your chest, a new rhythm emerges. That rhythm is coherence. It's not about control, it's about resonance. Here, how to begin. Inhale slowly through the nose. Exhale longer through slightly parted lips. Bring your attention, not your mind, but your attention into your heart space. Not to judge, not to fix, just to be there. And wait. Soon you'll feel a warmth, a subtle hum. Not dramatic, not loud, but steady, like the echo of something ancient remembering its way home. This is the moment when the heart field starts to bloom. You don't have to visualize energy spinning. You don't need to chase visions. You just need to feel the pulse of now and let the rest align itself. Thoth's wisdom always pointed here, not to reach beyond the stars, but to return to the still point within. Because when your heart is coherent, it emits a signal the universe recognizes, not as noise, but as clarity. And in that clarity, doors open, not because you forced them, but because you remembered the key was always inside your own rhythm. What if you were never off track? What if the heartbreak, the strange coincidences, the restless dreams, the books that found you at just the right time, what if none of it was random? Thoth didn't just leave behind teachings. He left a sequence. Not a sequence you study from a scroll, but one that unfolds through you in your breath, your choices, your struggles, your longings. Every moment of your life has been part of this pattern. Every turn, a marker. Every pause, a message. You didn't start this journey today. You've been walking it all along. What you're remembering now is the thread, the invisible line connecting all the pieces you once thought were separate. That golden thread, hidden inside your experience, has always been leading you back to yourself. Think about it. The first time you felt something beyond words. The time you almost gave up but didn't. The day you looked at the sky and it looked back. These were initiations. Quiet ones, personal, sacred. Thoth's wisdom isn't about adding something new. It's about revealing what's always been moving through you. His sequence doesn't begin at step one, it begins with awareness. And that awareness reveals that your entire life has been orchestrated as a remembering. Even your doubts were part of it. Even your forgetting was part of it. Because sometimes forgetting is what makes remembering real. You're not starting, you're recognizing. You're not learning, you're listening. And as the pieces click into place, as symbols start to speak, breath starts to spiral, vision starts to bloom, you begin to sense something deeper. A lineage, not of blood, but of vibration. You are part of an ancient inheritance, a living frequency passed not through families, but through presence. Through those who hear, those who feel, those who remember. So if you've been wondering why this moment feels significant, it's because it is. Not because something begins now, but because now you finally see where you've always been. You saw it, not with your eyes, but with something deeper, softer. A quiet recognition, like turning a corner in your own soul and realizing the street was always there. You just hadn't looked that way before. So now what? What happens after the veil lifts? After the breath settles? After the moment of clarity that left you wide open fades into your next morning? A comment once asked, "I've seen, but now what?" The answer isn't in another step. It's in a state. Because the shift doesn't always come with fireworks. Sometimes it's barely a whisper. But that whisper, it stays. After you see, the world doesn't suddenly change. You do. Your perception expands across 3 quiet dimensions. First, space begins to feel different. Not bigger, not smaller, just more alive. The walls don't press in the same way. The sky opens wider. Even the silence feels like it's holding you instead of threatening you. Second, emotion softens. Not because everything is easier, but because you no longer fight what's real. Sadness, joy, they don't compete anymore. They weave. You hold them together like light through stained glass. And third, action becomes gentler, more precise. You move with less fear, more clarity. Not because you know what's coming, but because you're no longer resisting what's already here. Seeing beyond the veil isn't an escape. It's an invitation to stay. To stay present in this moment, even when you don't understand it. To stay soft, even when you want to guard. To stay open, even when you've been trained to close. No map is handed to you. No voice declares your purpose. But something inside begins to guide. A rhythm, a hum, a way of noticing that keeps unfolding without effort. And if ever you wonder if it's still there, just breathe, just sit, just listen. The veil doesn't return, only your forgetting does. But now, even forgetting is softer. Because you know the way back, you've walked it, you are it. So let the moment pass. Let the light shift. Let the mystery return. You're not supposed to hold it forever. You're just supposed to remember it was real. And maybe, in that remembering, you realize you never really left. You've followed the breath, you've touched the code, you've seen through the veil, and now here you are, not standing at the edge of something, but sitting quietly at the center of yourself. There is no final technique, no ultimate sequence, no secret waiting in the next video. Because the secret is you. You are the key. You are the field. You are the portal you've been seeking all along. Every inhale a memory, every exhale a return. So if ever you forget, if the noise gets loud again, if the light feels far away, just come back to this breath, this moment, this quiet, and remember, as long as you are breathing, the door is still open.